Good morning, book nerds. The sun is shining and it is a beautiful day to talk about smut. Yes, today we are going to be talking about 10 smut recommendations that I have for you. These are not going to be an all encompassing, all fully comprehensive list of books. These are just some of the books that I read last year that I gave 4 and 5 stars to, that I thought that I would impart to you in case you were looking for something trashy to read for your TBR. So, with that being said, grab your beverage, put your pearls on, and let's get started. Once You're Mine by Morgan Bridges. This is a dark stalker type trashy romance. We have Callista, who used to have it all. She had money, she had privilege. Her father was a very prominent figure in society, although he was kind of a shady character. He wasn't very upstanding, let's just put it that way. And he ended up being prosecuted for his crimes. And the prosecuting attorney was a man named Hayden. And during this trial, Hayden becomes obsessed with Callista. Well, fast forward a little bit into the future, and her father has been murdered and she has lost everything. She no longer has her money. She no longer has her prestige. She is no longer part of that society. She has nothing. She is just trying to survive food, have a roof over her head, and she is just barely making it. However, Hayden is still obsessed with her. He still stalks her. He still does what he can to try to make her life easier. However, Callista is determined to find her father's murderer. And as he was the prosecuting attorney for her father's trial, he obviously doesn't feel like he can approach her or become part of her life because she hates him for the role that he played. And so this is kind of it's obviously a lot of obsession. It's obviously a lot of stalking, and it gets kind of crazy. This is the first book in a duology. This is Once You're Mine. The second book is Now You're Mine, and they do actually form some sort of a relationship down the line. And she has to figure out if her hatred of him is going to overshadow the attraction that she feels to him and the almost obsession that she herself is forming for him. And so it's this very interesting relationship that they have. But there is a lot of very schmexy scenes in this, and I would consider this a dark romance, stalkery, obsessive elements. The Pucking Wrong Number by C.R. Jane. This is a hockey trashy romance. We have Lincoln Daniels. He is a star hockey player. He is well on his way to the NHL. He is a prodigy. He plays hockey like nothing anybody has ever seen. He's just fantastic at it. He has a lot of elements in his past that are pretty dark. And so he kind of deals with a lot of trauma from his past, but he meets a girl and becomes absolutely obsessed with her. Now, she is kind of down on her luck. She can barely afford a roof over her head. And he, when I say that he is obsessed with her, it is crazy. The things that he does and the lengths that he goes to for her are beyond anything. They are cray. It's fantastic. I gave this book 5 stars. This is the first in a long running series that she has done about hockey and the hockey players on this particular team, the Dallas Knights. And she has a book for each one of them, and their obsessive personalities that they have towards the women that they meet. But this first one, I think, is almost the best one in this whole series. And it's a hockey romance, but it is absolutely dark obsession, craziness, and there's definitely a lot of clutch your pearls trash in this. So pick this one up. It's a good one. Don't Be Scared by A.J. Merlin. I would consider this a horror erotica. We have our main character who lives in Hollow Bridge. This is her town, her small town. And they have a lot of lore, a lot of folklore, a lot of stories, a lot of things in their past that they really cling to and they're really proud of. And every year during Halloween, they really embrace this. They have a lot of like celebrations and parades and fairs and all of these types of things, and they really get into and embrace their past and their lore. And there is a figure in their past, in their small town past, called the Hollow Bridge serial killer, the Hollow Bridge killer. And so this particular year, this particular season, she is all invested in the celebrations that are happening. And one dark night, she finds herself alone in the woods, and a figure comes out and chases her through the woods, dressed as the Hollow Bridge serial killer. And he chases her, he holds her at knife point, and instead of killing her, he asks her who his victim should be. And he will not let her go, and he will not let her leave until she gives him a name. And realizing that she has no other choice, she gives him a name. And I don't want to spoil it for you, so no spoilers. And the next day, this person is dead. And this continues on. And so she's trying to figure out the mystery of who this masked figure is, this masked man. And he continues to stalk her and chase her and continues to demand victims from her. Well, at the same time that this dynamic is happening, he is kind of making advances towards her. He's kind of getting into her mind, and he's kind of initiating this relationship between them. And she finds herself being drawn into him and drawn and attracted to him. And so they end up in this relationship together. And anyway, as I said, this is a horror erotica, and so there's a lot of schmexy going on in this later on, and it definitely takes you on a ride. This is not for the faint of heart, but this is definitely one of those books that if you feel like reading the chase me through the woods, masked man, type thing, then this would be a good book for you. If you know anything about me, you know that A.J. Merlin is one of my favorite authors. I love the way that she writes. And this is a great example of that. I am pretty sure I gave this one 5 stars, so I really enjoyed it. Barbed Wire Hearts by Kendra Moreno. Now, this is a cowboy, why choose, trashy, fantastic romance book. This is the first book in her Green River Hearts series. Every single one of the books in that series is a 5-star read from me. They've all been excellent. This one, we have Kate. Kate is a city girl through and through. She loves everything about the city. And one day, her ex-boyfriend comes knocking on her apartment door and says that she needs to get out, that she is in danger and she needs to flee. And Kate has no idea what is going on and demands that he explain himself. And he proceeds to tell her that he is involved in some very shady characters, loan sharks, mob, those type of things. And he is in debt with them for a lot of money. And because he did not have the money to pay them back, and of course did not want to die, he decided to lie to them and say that they were together and sold her instead to pay off his gambling debt. So now the organization is coming for her because now they own her. So she ends up fleeing to Wyoming, to one of those dude ranches, where you go and you have like a ranch experience as a cowboy. You go to this ranch and then you like learn how to work the cattle and do all the ranchy things. So she ends up going to one of those dude ranches in Wyoming, where she meets the 3 cowboys who own and operate this ranch. And things progress as things do. And look at things progress. So here's like the synopsis that I told you, and here's the things progress as things do. So it's fantastic. Anyway, and so the organization that is after her ends up finding her and coming for her, and her three cowboys are like, bring it on. We don't call 911 out here in Wyoming. We protect our own. So come for her. We dare you. And it's so good. The way that she writes her cowboys is fantastic. The way that she writes her, you feel like you're in Wyoming. You can really feel the energy of the ranch and the scenery and the majesty of the mountains and just the nature. And it's absolutely fantastic. I have given every single one of these books in the series 5 stars. I absolutely love them. Omega Concealed by Elizabeth Dear. So we have our main character, Dylan St. James. She is an Omega. This is an Omega verse book. And in an Omega verse, we have wolf shifters, but they don't shift into the animals. All we have is the actual shifter dynamics or pack dynamics, but we don't have any actual shifting going on. So we have alphas, we have omegas, we have betas, and so we have those type of pack dynamics, but we don't have any actual shifting. So that's what makes it Omega verse. So this is an Omega verse book. We have Omega Concealed, and then we have Omega Revealed. And her name is Dylan. And she is an Omega, but she does not want anyone to know that she is an Omega because the government has decided to take over the process of the pack dynamics where alpha packs and Omegas are paired together. And the government has decided to get involved where all Omegas must register with the government, and then the government will find and pair Omegas with an alpha pack, which is not how it is supposed to be. It is supposed to be by scent match. And as with all things where the government gets involved, it is very corrupt. A lot of not nice alpha packs are paying off the officials in the government in order to get Omegas that they want, not necessarily that they're matched with. And it's just, it goes against all things that nature has intended for the packs. And so Dylan has been taking illegal suppressants to suppress her Omega nature and is presenting scent-wise as a beta. And she does this to protect not only herself, but her family. And so that is what she has done. And not only she has been doing this, but she helps other Omegas do the same so that they are not part of this, corrupt government program. In the daytime, her daytime job, she works as a clerk in her family's business. But in the nighttime, she becomes kind of a vigilante, and she goes out and she rescues abused Omegas that have been paired with an alpha pack that is abusing them. Maybe they have paid off officials to get this Omega and they lock them up. They try to breed them when they're very young, and it's a horrible situation. And so she has contacts in the underground, and she goes and she rescues them. And then she takes them, she hides them, she gives them new identities. And it's kind of like this underground railroad type thing that she has and that she does with Omegas. Well, the last Omega that she helped, the alpha pack that she rescued from, this Omega from, was kind of a prominent Omega or alpha pack. And so they hired a private investigation firm to find their missing Omega. Well, the private investigation firm that they hired is an alpha pack, and they follow leads and happen to find Dylan. And the alpha pack, the PI alpha pack, and Dylan are a scent match. And because she is taking suppressants, they don't understand what is going on. She does. And so there's confusion because, she's not presenting as an Omega, she's presenting as a beta. And so they do not understand what is going on, but they feel drawn to her. And so they're trying to understand their instincts and what it's telling them, because they don't understand why they're being drawn to this beta. And anyway, that is kind of the synopsis or the summary of how this book plays out. It is a duology, and it's just fantastic. I discovered Elizabeth Dear last year, and I have read every single one of her books, and they are all fantastic. I have 5-starred every single one of her books. I love the way she writes. She does not just write Omega verse; she writes in other genres as well. But I did enjoy this one because it does have a lot of really good kind of trashy elements, not really trashy elements, but it does have a lot of really good. Obviously, we have a pack, so we have kind of this harem situation, but also we have heat, we have knotting, we have breeding, we have all that type of stuff, with which, if you want something kind of smutty, then that's the kind of stuff that I like. So this is a good one, and I recommend putting it on your TBR. Claimed by the Barbarian Warlords by Charmaine Ross. So Charmaine Ross is a new author to me. I just discovered her last year, and she is fantastic. If you want aliens, kind of monsters, demons, like that sort of thing, then she is an excellent author for that. So this is the first book in her Stolen Planets series. And we have our human, and she is taken through a wormhole from Earth, and she is deposited on this alien world. And she is attacked by, of course, this whole alien planet is full of alien creatures, and she is attacked by, who even knows what it is. It's just some alien creature that is going to kill her. And she is rescued by these 3 tall, hot, red, horned alien demons. And they know, because they can scent her, that she is an Omega and that she is their mate. So they don't care that she's human. They don't care where she came from. They don't care anything really about her. They don't care about her personality. They don't care about her looks. They could care less about anything. All they care about is that she is theirs. Period. She's here. She has no idea where she is. She has no idea who these guys are. They're aliens, so they look weird. And she can't speak the language. So there's this language barrier. And she is, rightly so, freaking out. And they're sitting here trying to take her back to their, their castle and their, city where they come from, so that they can love her and pamper her and marry her and make her their queen and all this kind of stuff. But she has absolutely no idea what's going on. And back on Earth, she had, her own life. She had her own independence. She was her own person. She was a scientist. I mean, she was her own person. And so for her to come to this planet and then to have these 3 aliens not care a whit about her or who she is or what she feels or her thoughts or her feelings on anything, they don't care about any of that. They just care that she's theirs. It infuriates her. It infuriated me. It would infuriate anybody. And so she has to teach them what it means to be human and what it means to be in a reciprocating, I'm not saying that right, relationship. And so, I mean, yes, of course, there's, she's an Omega, so she goes into heat and she needs them. And there's just alien peens all over the place. I mean, it's hot all over the place. But of course, there's all of that. And it's great. Clutch Your Pearls, read it for that. It's great. But also on the other side, we have, we're rooting for her. We're like, yes, girl, don't lose that independence. Just because you're a lone human on an alien planet, you teach them. You teach those alien men how to respect you and give you your independence, and don't lose who you are just because they say. It's no different. Men are no different, whether they are here on Earth or on some faraway alien planet. Okay, you got to train them. You got to teach them. Anyway, I enjoyed the heck out of this book. 5 stars from me. I enjoyed it that much. I was rooting for her the whole time, and I absolutely loved it. Diver's Heart by K.A. Knight. I love K.A. Knight. She is a fantastic author, and this is just one of her books that I really enjoyed last year. But really, you could pick up any one of her books, and it would be a fantastic read full of great clutch your pearl scenes. She does an excellent job. This book, we follow Peyton, who is a free diver. She grew up kind of in that world of ocean and diving. Friend, who she grew up with, she ends up getting together with. They are boyfriend and girlfriend kind of throughout the teen years, the high school years, that type of thing. And one day he asks her to marry him, and she breaks his heart because she says no. And that's kind of where we start the story. And she runs off, and runs away from him and the rest of her friends, and kind of runs away from this community that she's grown up in. And she's absolutely devastated. And the whole reason that she felt like she had to do this was because she was in love not only with her boyfriend, but with all of her friends, her boyfriend and her boyfriend's best friends. And so she was in love with all of them. And she just didn't think it was fair to marry him when she had feelings for all of them. So she ran. And then the book picks up, many years later, where it's like an archaeological dive. And a team is being put together by this millionaire, and he wants all of these underground caves explored and is cherry picking the best of the best divers to go down and do this. He picks her, as she is one of the world's greatest divers, and also ends up picking another team of divers, which happens to be her ex and all of his friends. And so they're together again. Obviously, there's a lot of angst, there's a lot of tension, there's a lot of all of this kind of stuff. And so we have that aspect going on. But then we also have this other aspect, because now they're diving into these caves. I mean, the way she writes the claustrophobia, oh my gosh. Caves, I don't do caves. I'm claustrophobic even thinking about caves. So that's it. So just even having that like in my brain and reading it, like I'm freaked out already. So, but then we add to that a kind of this monster element, and I don't want to spoil too much, but then we have that element added onto it. So this is like trashy book meets The Descent, the movie The Descent, all wrapped up in. It was a wild ride, you guys. It was a wild ride. I loved every second of it. It was fantastic. I love the way that K.A. Knight writes. She's an excellent author, and the way that she put all of this together it's like a psychological thriller and a horror novel and a trashy romance, and you guys, this was a wild ride. You need to pick it up and read this. Diver's Hearts. You'll love it. Mountain Boss by S.J. Tilley. Ooh, look at that cover. Okay, so we have Sinclair. Is that his name, Sinclair? Yeah. We have Sinclair. He owns a kind of a campground lodging facility type thing up in the wilderness. He provides hunting and fishing tours, that type of thing. And his longtime maintenance groundskeeper guy is retiring. Well, Sinclair is kind of a grumpy bear and does not like change, and is kind of irritated that his maintenance guy is retiring. And his maintenance guy is like, don't worry, because I know somebody, and I think that they would be great. Their name is Court, and I will make sure that this is all taken care of. Well, of course, Sinclair's like, okay, great, hired. So then we have Court, aka Courtney, who packs up her life, drives into the middle of nowhere to this campground lodging facility. But when she shows up and is a woman, that was not expected. And he is not happy about that, because he now has to make accommodations for her. He can't just put her in the staff bunks because all the rest of his staff is men. And so she can't bunk with all the rest of them. Obviously, that's not going to work. And so there's these accommodations that he has to make for her. And he is just upset. I think you need to leave, and this just isn't going to work out. And Courtney's like, excuse me, I just left my entire life behind. I quit my job. I left. I have no place to live. Everything I own is here. No, you're not firing me. And if you try to, I will sue you for breach of contract. So now he's even more upset. He's like, fine. If she's not going to leave on her own, then I will make her life so miserable that she will quit. And what ensues is a bunch of shenanigans. He tries so hard to make her life miserable, but inside, he's like this gooey teddy bear that's really a gentleman. And so he has such a hard time And so he like sets up all these shenanigans, but then he feels bad about it. And so then he's like, he like tries to fix it, and then, but he's so bad at it. And anyway, it's super funny. And it's kind of like this enemies to lovers. The more that they butt heads and the more that they are in conflict with each other, the more that they're attracted to each other. And it's great. It's a funny book. I laughed, and the tension between the two is written very well. I absolutely love this book. This is the first book in her Mountain Men series, Sinner's Retreat by Lauren Beale. This is the first book in her Slaycation series, and I adored this book. I laughed out loud. I've met Lauren Beale a couple of times at different book conventions, and she's very understated. She's quiet. She's absolutely adorable. She's the nicest person. You would never in a million years look at her or talk to her and think that she would write something like this. Okay, let me set it up for you. So we have Kendra. She is a serial killer. She's called the Heartbreak Killer, and she murders people who deserve it. Pedophiles, rapists, etc. And then we have Ezra. He is also a serial killer. He also murders people who deserve it. Again, rapists, domestic abusers, etc. And there is every year, there is a event called Sinner's Retreat, where all of these serial killers are invited to kind of have a vacation, to kind of get away from it all, to just kind of have a pleasant getaway, to relax, to just kind of be themselves and not worry about anyone discovering who they are. And it's just kind of a getaway for them. And now Kendra, her brother was murdered like, I don't know, 8 years ago, something like that. And she has been determined ever since then to find his killer and to bring him to her justice. And the rumor is that this killer, is going to be at Sinner's Retreat. So she gets herself invited there this year, and she is determined to uncover his identity and then to take matters into her own hands. Well, as you know, she is making her way to the island, as you know, all of them are. She meets Ezra as Ezra, and not realizing that they're going to the same place, they have a one-night stand at a hotel and realize they have a lot in common. They're really attracted to each other, and you know, she's disappointed that they're not going to be able to kind of continue and see where this might go, but you know, it's fine. One night stand, whatever, it's done with. She enjoyed it, it's fine. Anyway, then realizes that they're going to the same place. And so Ezra, as they're talking on the plane ride out to the island, as he's getting to know Kendra more, because he's kind of into this too. He's like, I really enjoyed our one night stand, and I kind of feel like this could go somewhere. Are you on the same wavelength? And she's like, yeah, I kind of am. So let's get to know each other. Anyway, finds out about her brother, finds out that he's actually the serial killer that killed him. And it's like, oh man. And he's like, you know what? No, she can't find out. She can't find out. If she knows it's me, she's going to try and kill me. I want this romance to go somewhere. She's amazing. I could totally see myself having a future with her. No, she can't find out who I actually am. And absolute insanity. And it goes crazy from there on out. The whole book is absolutely hysterical. He's trying to keep her identity from her. She has no idea what's going on. She's just doing her thing. She's partaking in the activities at the vacation. She's, on the side, kind of trying to get clues as to see who, her brother's killer is. He's in the background doing everything he can to prevent her from actually finding out who he is. And at the same time, he's trying to woo her. And she is the most creative, most comedic, hysterical. I loved every minute of this book. You've got to pick up this book. It is so funny. And just a PSA, just for you, just from me to you, you will never look at pineapple the same way again after you read this book. Okay, she dedicated this book to the humble pineapple, and you will understand why when you read it, and never again will you look at pineapple the same way. And number 10, last but certainly not least, we have Stalker by A.M. McCoy. This is exactly what it says it is. We have stalker masked man tropes in here. This is a dark, trashy romance. I keep saying trashy, but I want you to understand that I don't mean it's trash. I don't mean that in the term that it's just it's total garbage, because it's not. I am a trash reader. I I say trashy in the most respectful, most I love it so much, bring it to me and just feed it to me terms possible. So I absolutely love trashy books. That being said, let us talk about Stalker. So, A.M. McCoy is also a new reader that I found last year. So happy that I did. I loved me a masked man romance. So we have Lincoln. Lincoln is because of course he is a tech genius, billionaire, reclusive man who lives in this huge mansion in the middle of the woods, nowhere, no idea where. And he's a very nice man, I'm sure, but he's reclusive, and he kind of has his own proclivities, is that how you say it, and his own kinks. And so he goes on these websites, which is totally fine, and he meets this woman there on one of these websites, and he decides that he is obsessed with her and he wants her. So because he is a tech genius, he discovers who she is in real life. He knows everything about her now, and he hires her. Of course, he puts in place all of the circumstances needed so that it is in her best interest to come and work for him as his housekeeper, which she does. And she packs up her life and she goes and she lives in the middle of nowhere in his big mansion. She lives in the guest house, and she is his housekeeper. Now, he is kind of, he's kind of eccentric. He's kind of this odd man. And so he wants her to understand that I'm going to be gone a lot. I travel for my job, so I'm not often here. And when you are done doing, the chores and the work that I have set for you, then your alone time is your alone time, and you're welcome to, do whatever it is that you want to do on your own time. And so on her, alone time, she likes to go to this website, which he already knew. And so he sets up this kind of messaging on this website between the two of them, between her and kind of his alter ego, and kind of sets up this arrangement so that he will explore some of her kinks and her sexuality during her free alone time. And that involves chasing her through the woods and then catching her. And, if you know, you know. And so that's kind of his alter personality. And so we have Lincoln, who is this, in real life, who is this working tech billionaire guy, but then he has this alter ego who, chases her through the woods and, kind of this alter ego guy. Well, she is enjoying exploring herself and exploring her needs and her wants with Dane, who is this alter ego man. She doesn't know any different. She just thinks that he is some guy that she met on the internet, doesn't know anything about him, not one thing. He's masked the whole time and doesn't really care, I guess, all that much. Just he's used for one purpose, and that's all she really needs him for. But then we have Lincoln, and she finds herself, when she spends time with him, to be really attracted to him, and she enjoys his company. She finds him to be intelligent and smart and kind, and she really finds herself drawn to him. And so you find herself thinking to herself a couple of times in the book, if only Lincoln and Dane could be the same person, he would be the absolutely perfect man for me. Not knowing that they are actually the same person and that he is perfect for her. And so anyway, it's a great book. It does have some of that kind of emotional growth where she's exploring herself. She's learning about herself, and she's not afraid to kind of discover what it is that she wants and needs. And so that was kind of cool to see her grow like that. It was a really good book. This is the first book in her Line Walkers series. Okay, book besties. Whew. So how was that? Those were my 10 smutty book recommendations for you. Hopefully I was able to give you a few options, a few different genres where you could kind of pick and choose ones that sounds interesting to put on your TBR. If you are in the mood for that type of book, sometimes we are, and that's okay. And hopefully I gave you a few ideas of books that you might enjoy. So until next time, bye.